using a taser and pepper spray on a man who was having a medical emergency while driving his car. That officer already resigned, and ABC's Alex Perez is here with more on the outrage and the fallout. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, Paula, as you said, one officer has already resigned, and this morning authorities are now investigating whether two other officers acted inappropriately. It all started as a call for a hit-and-run accident, but things quickly got ugly.
This morning, tense moments caught on tape. Police body cam video shows officers in Fredericksburg, Virginia, drawing their guns.
Let me see your other hand right now!
And yelling at a man who's sitting in the driver's seat and appears to be unresponsive.
Put your hands up, both of them, now!
Police called to the scene after Washington allegedly drove his silver Hyundai the wrong way down the street, hit another car, kept moving, and then struck a median. Officer Sean Jurgens then tases Washington, even though he does not appear to be moving. But the taser fails. Jurgens then pepper sprays him. Turns out the man, 34-year-old David Washington, was having some sort of medical emergency.
Get out the car, I'm smoke you! Get out the car! Right now!
Finally, threatening Washington and demanding he get out of the car.
That's the point. Get out. Don't move around.
The officers then drag him out of the car. Washington can be heard moaning. An ambulance eventually arrives and takes Washington to the hospital.
The officers on duty didn't assess the situation correctly, and they had the time to do so.
Officer Jurgens has now resigned, and in a statement, Fredericksburg police saying the use of force demonstrated in the incident involving Mr. Washington was not in compliance with department policy or training.
Now, we did reach out to Washington to see how he was doing, but our calls were not returned. Authorities did not reveal exactly what kind of medical problem he was having, but he could still face criminal charges. Officer Jurgens, in a letter to a local newspaper, says he believes, given the situation, he did what he had to do. Paula, Dan?
Tough to watch that footage, though. Really tough.
And still a few unanswered questions here, so we're hoping we're going to learn more as things develop. But yeah, tough to see that video and to see all of that happen, those tense moments in those few seconds.
And if they didn't have the body cam video in that jurisdiction, we wouldn't even know it existed.
Exactly right.
One of the reasons why so many people are pushing for those.
Exactly.
Alex. Not guilty of counts 1 and 2 as indicted. The state did prove the lesser included offense of felonious assault on both counts by demonstrating beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant knowingly caused serious physical harm to both victims. But the defendant proved by a preponderance of the evidence that he is legally excused from liability for those crimes because he caused the serious physical harm of the victims in a constitutionally reasonable effort to end an objectively reasonable perception that he and the others present were threatened by Russell and Williams with imminent serious bodily harm. I therefore also find the defendant not guilty of felonious assault, the lesser included offense on both indicted counts, and the defendant is discharged.
There's more riot police coming down over here now.
Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, you guys are the oppressors. You guys are the enemy of liberty and the enemy of freedom. So as much as you claim to protect us and all that, you guys are actually the worst enemy of freedom that we have.
So now they're just snatching people for no reason. And now they're just snatching people for no reason. So they just snatched another guy out of the crowd. So they just snatched the guy out of the crowd.
That's one of theirs. That's one of theirs. That's one of theirs.
Oh, that's a nurse? They just snatched the guy and grabbed him out of the crowd. So they just snatched somebody. Since she's from Chicago.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Your people are my people. What is that? Jonathan Cho. Jonathan Cho.
Cho?
Jonathan Cho.
Jonathan Cho just got snatched out of the crowd. He's from Chicago. Jonathan Cho was just snatched out of the crowd. The police are pushing forward. They're telling people who are on the sidewalk that we have to move back. They're pushing forward, and you see all these people on the sidewalk.
You are people of color, and you know better. You know better.
Police are moving in to snatch her for no fucking reason. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why? Why are you doing that? We're on a sidewalk. We're someone on the sidewalk! Lieutenant, go get Deputy Chief Downing! Go get Deputy Chief!
There has been a standoff between protesters. They are surrounded in this alley on both sides. You just witnessed the same thing happen in Oakland. Truthcaster was live streaming. There was a sit-in, about 40-50 people. The cops surrounded them and started snatching people out of the crowd. A lot of people arrested, or at least detained.
Platoon! Forward at the half stop!
And here is the police line making their way forward. They have tended the crowd, locked them up on both sides, just like they did in Ferguson, just like they did in Baltimore, just like they just did in Oakland tonight.
They're very courteous riot police. They're the most courteous riot police I've ever seen.
Frontline standoff. Protesters.
Now you're home. This is overkill. Am I being detained? Am I free to go? Are we being detained? Can we go to
See the cops.
Looks like they have the protesters trapped in on both sides.
Can we leave, please?
What are you doing? Speak! You can speak!
In Cleveland.
Me? Got him back. Yeah, back.
But reports are that after this roundup, they took out the good ball.
Gotta back up. He's got to do work. Go, back up.
They may sit in jail if they went to jail till Tuesday. So, on the west coast of Oakland, mass arrest made. See here in Cleveland.
Looks like they might be getting ready for a mass arrest right here of this group, pinched in on both sides.
There they go.
You gotta stay in this
Dragging back a few different protesters. Now I'm going to leave a link so you guys can watch all these videos. Shout out to Pete Santoy and them the live stream. This is Punjabu 7.
In this situation, they run when they see the police. We don't know if they're going to help us or if they're going to hurt us.
Trey points to Ferguson and Baltimore. This is an open forum. He says as long as police don't...
I got license and insurance, but, I feel like I got to look over my shoulder when the police ride behind me for 6-7 minutes.
With the resources that we have, it's going to be very difficult to do.
For reasons some say goes far beyond resources.
Unusual things began to happen with law. I began to see local municipalities, and no longer were police departments the enforcers of the law of municipalities, but military police driving very unusual looking vehicles that I now know to be called Humvees.
Covering St. Lucie County, police in Fort Pierce now have a new tool to fight criminals. They unveiled a U.S. surplus battle wagon. It's a 6-wheel, 30-ton armored vehicle worth $700,000. But get this, the agency only paid $2,000 for it. Officer Keith Holmes says it's a great addition.
It was canvas here, and there was a man standing in the back. They were wearing very unusual outfits, by the way.
She found some well-researched information out, and a site dating back from a forum, as a matter of fact, paulding.com. I'm not going to show you some names here. I'm just going to scroll through. But she provided some posts in this forum dating back from early 2000s, 2004, 2005, around in that area. And they were talking about Walmart tunnels, and Walmart being built in conjunction with the Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, blah, 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 so on and so forth, right? So I scrolled through some of these forum posts and found some very interesting stuff. And if it wasn't for this lady right here, Rise Together, I would not have been able to piece together what I think that may be some explosive information. Now, I think that. Now, you may have a different viewpoint on that, but we will find out. Well, I'm not sure if you can see this map here exactly, but this is one of the maps that she found, and I'm going to use the map that she provides here only for ease to keep transferring back and forth the information that I want to share with you. So, in recent news here with, let's say, Jade Helm, and let's take a look at the Jade Helm map here just for 1 second. Okay, so you have, of course, we already know that Texas and Utah have been listed as hostile territories. All of these states right here, Texas, and what I just recently reported yesterday that came from Dave Hodges, the Common Sense Show, is that an Air Force base near Lubbock, Texas, was just kind of erected with fence lines and everything, and there appears to be a surface-to-air missile platform there behind the fence, as you can see. But interestingly enough, you don't see Lubbock, Texas mentioned on the map right here, right? You just see kind of activity as they've encircled it right here in this locale. Well, what I want you to do is I want you to notice Utah right here, this star point right here. And we're going to leave this map here. We're done with that. I just wanted to point out some of these facts here. Also, I want you to remind you of the fact, do you remember the New Mexico territory that the feds laid claim to, like 500,000 federal lands? It was 500,000 acres around this area right here that they laid claim to, right? So keep that in mind. And now let us resume back to our map here, on the Rise Together channel. Now, this map of this inner earth of these appears to be tunneling systems under the earth. And what I want you to notice is here, there doesn't appear to be a tunnel that leads this way from the site of the Jade Helm. But interestingly enough, there is a tunnel system right here at Lubbock, Texas area, right here. And as you can see, that is in fact Lubbock, Texas. See it right there? And you can see it right there. Now, the other interesting things that I wanted to point out here about this is, of course, Southern California, the insurgent area, is marked, and it does have a circular area here. If you remember the map, Utah, right here, there is a point of the Air Force Base marked right there. Now, what is the other interesting things that I found here that really have piqued my interest? Do you remember the Bundy Ranch standoff? Do you remember Bunkerville is right there? Look, I want you to look at this. From San Francisco, this is, I do believe, San Francisco right here. And look, I want you to see that line that goes right through Nevada, down, and goes right directly across the Bunkerville Bundy Ranch. Right there. Don't think so? Let's take a look. One of the other maps of the tunneling systems right here is you'll be able to see that it's on this site that was also found by Rise Together, is right here. If you look at these underground tunneling systems, and there's one right here, and it goes right directly across here, right? And there's also one spot right there that goes right across this area. Let's take a look at Bunkerville. Here is Bunkerville right here in the very corner. Remember? That line went directly across right from here, down, and right across there. And that is Bunkerville, Nevada. Look at that. Isn't that very interesting? See, were we wrong about why they wanted all of those ranches in that area? Does this have to do with something about exiting for some of these tunnels, that they needed exit points along the way for some reason? Could that be it? Possibility. But let's take a look at some more. Now, according to the map right here, if you look, this is San Diego is right here. This is San Bernardino. This would be San Bernardino, I do believe, or maybe even, oh, no, it wouldn't be LA. LA's more this way. But what I want you to notice is the tunnel system here that goes right up through California this way and comes right up here near Crescent City or probably San Quentin, or, well, no, that's way much higher than that. But right below the Oregon borderline right here. Watch this. You see it goes up right through Oregon. See this right here? And you see it's more to the west coast than towards the east. Well, what do you guys make of that? Let's take a look. Here is the map right here, as you'll be able to see coming up right through this way. And take a look at this. See this line right here? This is the tunnel right here. Watch. Right there. See it? Grants Pass. This is exactly where the BLM situation is going with the gold mine. All of a sudden, with all of this Jade Helm and all of this other activity last year with the Bundy Ranch, all of the other stuff that's going on right now that we're seeing, look at this. The tunnel runs right along the same path as Grants Pass and the gold mining standoff situation with Oath Keepers and some of the local militia. Right there. See it?
It's a frightening thought. Islamic terrorist training camps right here in America in our backyards. The group Muslims of America, or Jamaat al-Furqa, as they're called in Pakistan, have established over 35 communities across the U.S. The group claims to be peaceful, but a videotape uncovered by the Christian Action Network shows that they can have a much more sinister side. The video, called The Soldiers of Allah, features Sheikh Mubarak Ali Ghanali, the mastermind and the leader of the group here in the U.S.
We are establishing training camps. You can reach us, at Brown Group University offices in upstate New York, or in Canada, or in Michigan, or in South Carolina, or in Pakistan, wherever we are, you can reach us.
The tape goes on to teach Ghalani's American followers tactics in guerrilla warfare, including scaling mountains, subduing enemies, murdering guards, hijacking cars, kidnapping, weapons training, and setting off explosives. Ghalani is a Pakistani national best known for allegedly setting up journalist Daniel Pearl in 2002. Pearl was on the way to meet with him when he was abducted and eventually gruesomely beheaded.
(1033) government surplus program, where surplus gear from the military is basically given out to police departments around the country. Now, that alone was shocking, where you think, why does Ferguson, Missouri, a small, relatively small town, need equipment like this? Well, it turns out now it's not just the police departments, but the police forces of universities and colleges around the country have also taken advantage of the 1033 program. On university campuses, there's a large military surplus. They say it's because, they just want to be prepared in case the worst happens. But some of the gear that's being made available, we're talking about over 100 colleges and universities that have taken advantage of the program. Let's take a look at some of the things, Elliot, that have been available. You wouldn't imagine that there would be a need for like tanks and M16s and military gear on a college campus, but these are some of the things. The University of Central Florida Police Department has an M79 grenade launcher. And that's the case in which these things will get deployed. That's why people are freaked out. Do you think that there's a need for 20 bayonet knives on any campus? Hines Community College, M79 grenades. They were like, yeah, we're community college. We still need the grenade launcher if you're going to make that available. We'll take one. Ohio State University, they have a mine-resistant vehicle. Now, Colorado School of Mines Public Safety Department has a bore light system laser. That's the, you put the little thing at the end of the,
so point and shoot.
The red dot on the person, which we saw show up in Ferguson. There are photos where there are innocent people standing on the street where they have a bead drawn on them by a sniper. This is how this stuff is being used. It's being justified as being worst case scenario. We just want to be prepared in case the worst happens.